what, a fellowship of 9. 9 going into Mordor. Just 9. Small chance of victory, great chance of failure. Better count me in, even though I did most of my best work alone. Cheers, you all! Hello, you all. Kilt-Man here. Kilt-Man at your fantastical services yet again. Now, what do we have here? Am I a bit overdressed for the occasion? No, of course not. This is just my normal Sunday attire. I did say to you I was going to show you some new stuff from Lord of the Rings, because now I've just got back into it again and I'm now completely under its influence. The One Ring, the burden, so heavy, I've already spent about £50. Yes, if you've been keeping up with the videos, you know that I've suddenly got back into the whole Tolkien, Middle-earth, Peter Jackson extravaganza. Yeah, and I'm loving it. So, even though I've got a lot of swords, I've got almost all the figures, if not all the figures, and so many bits of merchandise, plates, knives, decorative stuff, masks, you name it, everything. Two new things I'm sporting today, because I didn't have them. And one is the cloak, yeah, an Elven cloak, and the other is of course the Elven brooch to hold it together. Because, unbelievably, the Elves did not use Velcro, unlike this, which actually does have 2 little Velcro tabs, but I've yet to remove those. So if they crop into the shot, I do apologise. They're completely inauthentic. Now, the cloak is made by rubies. Yes, rubies. I know, over the last few years, I've done lots of videos featuring ruby stuff, primarily masks, and there's been a bit of a love-hate relationship with them, and yet, bizarrely enough, most of the stuff I've had in the last sort of 12 months from rubies have been pretty good. So I've got to be honest, yeah, I like them. And Ruby's got the license from New Line to make all the masks for Lord of the Rings trilogy. Not the masks for the film, but the replica masks. And I've got a couple of them. I've got a Moria Orc and I've got Letts. And I think you've seen them. I'm sure I've done videos on them. And they're great. They are great masks. So I know rubies can lose their way sometimes, but they definitely knock it out the park with the Lord of the Rings masks anyway. Now, they made a replica of the Elven cloak. This is the cloak that's given to the Fellowship once they've met Galadriel in Lothlorien. So they all wore cloaks to begin with, but they were all different colours, different varieties. But the Fellowship, the surviving Fellowship, because don't forget at that stage they've lost Gandalf. Gandalf's took the plunge. Fly, you fools. Which is, of course, this bit, fighting the Balrog in Khazad-dûm. But, so they're given gifts, elven daggers, the light of Elendil, a couple of strands of Galadriel's hair for Gimli, pervert that he is, and an elven, a Lothlorien elven bow for Legolas. And they all get given these brooches too, which are wonderful. And you see that now, that's a pretty good replica, that. All that's missing on it really is the a bit more silver for the veins on the leaf. The shape's meant to be like, I think it's a beech tree leaf, but it's all beautiful because all the elves architecture is based on plant life and the natural world. So it's a wonderful, wonderful design. Now, the elven cape. Now, so Boromir, Merry, Pippin, Frodo, Sam, and obviously, who's the other guy? Aragorn. They all get given a cape and Legolas as well, and the brooch. And they set forth, carrying on their adventure throughout Fellowship of the Ring. And throughout the rest of the movies, most of them still keep their capes in their cloaks in various states of disarray. Now, in this lighting, folks, I don't know what colour you're seeing on this, but this cloak is grey. It's grey. Now, I've come across this argument so many times now in forums and fans and all that. If you read Tolkien, if you look at the films, the cloaks are grey. They are not green, they are grey. But, and this is the thing, this is the crux of the matter, they can change colour because they're elven. And it's Galadriel. Galadriel spent time many years ago in the halls of Thingol Greycloak in the first age of Middle Earth. And Thingol Greycloak and his race of his particular creed of elves became the Grey Elves, and they sported grey cloaks. But it's made of that, what's it called? I wrote it down. Hithlain. The fabric is, it's an elven device, Hithlain. And Galadriel, who dwelt in those halls, took this skill of making anything out of Hithlain, including an elven robe, into the land of Lorien, Lothlorien, where our fellowship will encounter her. And the gift that these things have is that they can change colour and blend into whatever settings they're in, whatever environment. So if you're in the woods, they will take on a sheen of green. If you're in scrublands and sort of a savannah, they'll go like a russet colour. As when you see in the Two Towers where Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli are charging across the plains trying to catch, the Uruk-hai who've got Merry and Pippin. They've changed colour again. They've gone to a more earthy, sort of russety sort of colour. And that's the thing. So they're changing, in the films, they're changing the cloaks, the settings. And of course, when the Easterlings are marching into the Black Gates and Sam and Frodo have tumbled down the hill, and the Easterlings hear some rustlings in the rocks, they go over to investigate, and Sam's all buried up to his waist in all the scree and scurry. Frodo throws his own cloak over the two of them and it blends in and becomes grey like the rocks itself. So it's a form of stealth camouflage as well. Kind of clever. Them elves, man knows elves, knew a thing or two, didn't they? And they're quite sexy too with their little pointy ears. Wow, like them. So yeah, the cloak that you get when you order this, when you buy this, if it's correct, it's going to be grey. Now, mine only turned up today, and I've already noticed it's now night time, and I put it on before in my impetuousness, and I went outside while it was sunny, where I should really have filmed this, I know, but I might do other videos out there in the crisp winter sunlight, and it does take on a different aspect. You're looking at it now, to me that's grey, but some people, like those things you see on Facebook, what colour are you seeing here? How many animals can you see here? Are you seeing red or are you seeing blue? Those things which twist everybody's perceptions. Inserting like this does look green. How bizarre is that? I'm not sure if Ruby's had access to Galadriel's embroidery emporium and all her fine silks and materials and threads. I don't know, but it definitely does work. And I've got to say that it looks and feels terrific. I absolutely love it. This came from a different manufacturer, and it came in a wonderful little box like this, and it wasn't expensive. You can get very expensive ones. I mean, seriously, because obviously certain manufacturers got licenses to do all the Lord of the Rings stuff, and some would go high end, so they'd be laced with silver, be decked in gold and stuff like this, and have elven magic, woven into them. This cost me about £25, and I love it. I think it's great. It's the right dimensions. It gleams just right. It's got a little chain on it. It can be worn as a pendant. I haven't removed the chain yet, but I will do, because I'm never going to wear it as a pendant. It's only going to be a clasp on this. But it came in this lovely little box. Look at this. And this is like, fake silver, but it's a lovely ornate little casket. Look at that. And inside it is a velvet draped interior. Lovely. It's absolutely lovely. Makes a nice little I like that. So that's robust and solid, and it's got this nice sort of shiny mosaic on the bottom of it. It's beautiful. It really is. I've got to be honest. I'm surprised at the quality of that. Now, what was that? Has it got a hood? Has it got a hood? What do you think? It's all the way down the back there. Now, I'm not a man for hoods, but I do like. In fact, I adore when he first meets Strider in the prancing pony in Bree, and he's just sitting in the corner, man of mystery, and he's got his hood up like that. He's in the corner, and I do like that. Some people in reviews have said that they've worn this outside and it keeps you warm. Bollocks. It's flimsy, it's thin. The fabric they used in the movies would be flimsy and thin for the majority of the filming. And I'll tell you why, because you've got to move around. If this was weighing a fair bit, and outside and the exteriors, it's going to get wet, it's going to get moist. This was New Zealand, remember. That's going to get really heavy, and you would not be able to do a lot of the moving around and the fighting. It's going to get in the way. Now, I've got the swords, as you know, and I did do a bit of I would say training. Mrs. Kilt-Man and the family would go like, Dad was playing Lord of the Rings in the back garden. I was. It was great. I was fighting Laertes. Boromir had just got the 3 arrows in him and he'd slumped to the deck. And then I leapt up. No one else could see Laertes because he was wearing one of those elven cloaks and he was masked, but my Aragorn eyes could see him. So I fought him and destroyed him. But yeah, so I was prancing around with the sword. I was seeing, does that clasp hold? And yeah, it did. And does it get in the way? Because it's long, don't forget. Now, I'm only a short arse as well. So I'm 5'7", barely. I've grown during lockdown, I've noticed. And it still comes off the ground for a good couple of inches, maybe 3 or 4 inches, in fact, off the deck. That's great. You don't want this trailing in the dirt. I'm one of these that I don't like any kind of cosplay or material, clothing, any kind of uniform that I ever get hold of which is meant to be a character. It's never going to be pristine. I don't want it pristine. And if you get it pristine, then I'm going to have to spend ages weathering it and destroying it and wearing it down. Now, the great thing about this material is that it will snag, it will tear. Obviously, the elves didn't really stretch to durability, because in the films you do see them get ripped and torn as well. So hey, authenticity is there. But I don't know if you can see the weave on this. It's identical to what's in the movie. Believe you me, I've checked. Told you, got the 4Ks there. I was scrutinising just before. This does look the part. And it wears well, it fits well. I was swinging a sword around, I was doing some parries and movements and some drill techniques, and it really did work. Obviously, in a real life skirmish, if you're fighting orcs, or especially Uruk-hai, because they're even bigger and more dangerous, you're going to want to ditch that. Nobody, historically, you didn't wear a bloody cloak to battle, and if you did, you'd have armour and it would be woven into the armour itself. It would be tucked away, because you don't want this sweeping round. It just doesn't work. Looks great on film though. Looks great, swishing and swaying, and you look really, really uber cool. So yeah, if you're going to a cosplay, you're going to Comic-Con, you're going to a Renaissance fair, which I've never yet done, to be honest, and I've got friends who have, and I know plenty of reenactors. I know plenty of Lord of the Rings reenactors, but people who are Vikings, people who are Romans, people who are Anglo-Saxons, all this sort of thing, and I love it. I think it's genuinely great. It's a fascinating thing to get into, because these societies you've got to be able to make your own stuff as well. So one of the skills is learning how to make chainmail. But these are oldie worldy skills, and they're wonderful to learn. So obviously, you and your family could just turn up and we made some medieval stew. Yeah. But isn't it better to make your own gear, or at least to get stuff in and then customise it and do your bit? I think if you're going to try to look the part, you have to try to live it as well. And that's what these reenactment societies are all about. And I love it. So obviously the real Lord of the Rings style things and the fantastical reenactment societies do exactly the same sort of ethic. They will make their gear, they will try to live that life, and I think it's fabulous. So this would be great for that. Now, anybody wondering, I'm wearing a Captain Charles Vane pirate shirt from Black Sails underneath here, but it's great. I mean, obviously I'm not completely Aragorning myself to bits because I've got a fucking kilt on as well. See, I'll do things my way. And on top of that is this lush forest green leather gilet, which I had made personally for me as well, which is absolutely wonderful. I have a medieval double belt on, which is wonderful. I'm wearing, because it's nice and green, again you can't see in this light, that is the Hunting Stewart tartan, and it goes exceptionally well. I'm absolutely loving it. I never thought I'd be quite so smitten with a piece of fabric, you know, but hey, it is, it's wonderful, wonderful stuff. So there's plenty more that I'm gonna get hold of, but there's one thing in particular that I thought I had. You know, you'd think with my knowledge and passion and obsession for all these things, I'd have pretty much everything I've got catalogued and itemized in my brain. No. Every time I go into certain rooms, I find things which I didn't know I had. God, I remember getting that. And I'm like a child again. Wow, where did this come from? And it's wonderful. It's almost like a little quest of discovery. But I went looking for this particular item which Aragorn has, and I haven't got it. Or if I had got it, it's gone. But the spooks in the house have lifted it again. Like my Halloween 2 knife as well, which has been taken, amongst many other things. So I'm going to get it again. And I ain't saying what it is, but it's a really great bit of kit though. Oh yes. So I'll be getting that. But for the time being, I just thought I'd show you this, and a good excuse to talk rings again and to play some of Howard Shore's fabulous music. Oh, by the way, that drinking horn before, it was empty. I was acting. See, can do it pretty well. Listen to that. Howard Shore's Orakai theme, pounding anvils, bass drums. You want to do a workout to that? I love that. Just when I say that, it finishes. And we go into some mystical, ethereal, elven sort of piece. But, so, I mean, you guys, I have no qualms about walking the streets like this. Absolutely none at all. The people that know me, I mean, many of you obviously just know me from sitting here, or sitting in Kilty's tavern, or out there, or walking around the cemetery, or whatever. But there's a lot of people that actually do know me, who watch these videos, who can testify that I do go out like this. I've gone out dressed as General Custer. I've gone out dressed as a South Wales borderer fighting the Zulus. I've gone out dressed as Conan the Barbarian. I've gone Mad Max, Snake Plissken, you name it, I'll do it. If I'm into it, I'll do it. And I know we're still in the throes of lockdown. Isn't that a place, an elven place? And that's Loch Lorien. We're in lockdown, and just before I started recording this, my daughter said, "Oh, they're crying out for a big national lockdown to last for weeks again." Well, we're pretty much in it right now anyway, so hey, whatever. But what I want to do, I want to walk in to the pub and not have to wear a sodding mask and eat a meal and sit separately and all that shit. I want to be able to walk into a pub again and just stand at the bar, dress like this, because I walk in there and I've got my earphones in, unless I'm going in with people. But very often I walk in on my Jack Jonesy, and then I meet people when I'm in there, obviously. But I've got my earphones in, and I'm going to walk in playing Howard Shore's Fellowship theme, or the pounding Oricani theme, anything from Lord of the Rings will be playing in my ears, and I'm going to walk in thinking, yeah, you got it, baby. I look fucking awesome. Because that's playing in my ears. And behind the bar, Sandy behind the bar, who's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous girl. She often goes like, and who have we come as today then, Kilt-Man? And I'm going like 2 large whiskies and all that, like, and trying to be cool and like the stranger at the bar. Like, nope, you know, this is what I do all the time. This is just me. And everyone's sort of going like, oh, is it Frodo? Mr. Frodo say, I'm not Frodo. Aragorn, fuck's sake. I love it. It brings a bit of colour, a bit of fun into people's lives. I'm not saying everyone should go out and dress up as the Hulk or Captain America or whatever, Batman, the Riddler, whatever. But if you want to, do it. You aren't harming anyone. And the thing is, you'll get the piss ripped out of you if you show a chink in the armour, that you give a hint that you're embarrassed to look like that. But if you're embarrassed to do it, then why have you done it? But I do know people that are like that think it's a good idea, I'm going to put the gear on and I'm going to go out, and like, but the minute they step foot out the door, they're like, ultra self-conscious. I wear a kilt, I have shaggy stupid hair, you know, I often wear very little at all, and you know, I don't mind being the centre of attention. I draw attention all the time, and I don't have an issue with it whatsoever. So to prance around like something from Middle Earth, that's really just kind of, you know, basic stuff really. But I do want to do it. I want to just in this, because I'm loving it. It feels amazing, and it goes so well, you know. Obviously, you know, it's not going to go well with like a tuxedo. I just don't think it would. Don't think that the two would, you know, complement one another. But if you've got like, you wear it with a vest, you could wear it. You couldn't wear it with a vest, could you? Could you? No, that wouldn't really work. But any kind of jacket, you know, you could just have this swept over. Women wear capes all the time. I know plenty of women who, with the big sex shoes on, like, and they've got a big split in the dress, which goes up to the fucking armpits, you know, but they've got a cape on. Oh, a cloak, a cloak. And it looks, yeah. I'm not saying I can compete with that, like, but who knows? Who knows? That could be the next thing as I get a bit older. As I enter my KM Ilf days. Kilt-Man, I'd love to whatever, you know? Anyway, I seem to have wandered off the path. Mordor was directly ahead, and I've gone off on a different tangent. But yeah, folks, hope you don't mind me indulging this Rings passion at the moment. I have explained that I avoided it for a good decade because I knew what would happen. And yes, it's happened. I'm loving it. There's so many things to discuss, so many things to talk about, so many things to show you, and I think we can have a laugh with it pretty much all the time. So, you know, that's the idea. Anyway, the next review coming your way is, for my sins, it's going to be the Marcus Nispel remake or reboot of Conan the Barbarian with Jason my man Momoa, the man who was built to play Conan, the man who looks just like the Frank Frazetta Conan, the man who could well be the Conan. But you've got to give him a good film, you've got to give him a script, you've got to give him some development, you've got to give him something to do. That reboot, despite having a gloss, vigour, meant to be hard R-rated, yeah, it was an absolute disaster. I've tried to rewatch it many times, always thinking I'm going to find something of value in this. It will keep my attention. And there are elements in it that I do like, but it does reach a point, sadly, far too quickly, where it just goes and you don't give a shit. and you can easily just wander off and forget you'd even begun to watch it. And that has got to be the worst thing you could ever say about a film, that it's absolutely forgettable whilst you're watching it. Anyway, that's something you can't say about the Rings trilogy, which is just magnificence. So, folks, there you go. I'll just show you again. You will see this in proper daylight, I'm sure. There you go, let's... Yeah, and I've got proper big suede Renaissance boots on as well. But yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it a hell of a lot. Rubies have done well. By the way, I don't know if I showed you. Did I show you the actual packaging? I know people love to see the packaging of things. I've also seen that this was limited, but they're still out there. I got this, so not a problem. The packaging's slightly battered. Looks brown on that image there. Look at that. That's a bit off-putting, isn't it? Like, hey, I'm in my Elven cloak. Big grin. Made in the USA, investing in American jobs. Jobs for elves. So, Elven cloak down there. Yeah, I heard it was limited, and this actually is numbered. It says 16,709. Not that limited. But anyway, folks, if you're reclaiming your little patch of Middle Earth and you want to get dressed up whilst watching it, this is awesome. It's cheap as well. It's cheap. I think they go for a variety of prices, but I managed to find one that actually said the packaging is damaged. So it was literally, I think, £10-15 off the normal price. So I'll have it, and as you can see, it's great. I will weather it a little bit more. You don't want to be walking through mud. You see him in the films doing that, and the bottoms get absolutely drenched, and yeah, I don't mind a bit of dirt, a bit of smut and stainage on these things. You've got to give it a lived-in feel, but I draw the line at soaking the damn thing in, saturated in thick, congealing mud. No, don't do that, don't do that. But, I don't know, are Elven cloaks, are they self-cleaning? Maybe they are, don't know. Pretty sure that Legolas always looks pretty much spotless, doesn't he? Anyway, folks, I have been, and always shall be, a slave to merchandise. And these damn obsessions, it is a burden that I must weather. Folks, please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all later. I'll meet you all in Lothlorien, and we'll have a little shindig with the elves.